Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to explore the new ISE 3.0 user interface and talk a little bit about some features and changes that came out with this new ISE version. We are going to start with the new interface and see what are the main difference between this new version versus the previous one. Then we are going to review and explore a little bit about make a wish option, moving on to the health check, and finally, I'm going to give you an overview of the licensing changes, as I consider this is one of the main changes that has been made on this version. Let's get started. Okay, I have my lab running 3.0 on this machine, and I also have my lab running 2.4 patch 11. The idea of having these two ISE virtual machines running is to kind of compare the difference in terms of the user interface, what information has been moved, which other has been hidden or maybe added to the user interface, so you can see where the benefits of the downside of doing that. So I'm gonna log into my ISE node here. Before going through the user portal itself, the user interface, ISE will show us a couple of message dialogues, and this is kind of the normal process every time that we log into a new ISE version. The first message that we got is called the Smart Hub for telemetry. So it's basically prompt to us our Cisco ID, which is something that I'm not going to provide today. So you can click on provide later, click on next. Next message that we got is a brief description of the features and what is new on ISE 3.0. Something cool and something very important to mention is now on this version, it is possible to integrate Active Directory with ISE, and this Active Directory can be locally, that means in your internal network or customer network, or it can be configured on the Microsoft Azure. So in the past, this has been something that many customers have asked, in my opinion, and now this is a reality on this new ISE version. Some other features such as the agentless posture has been introduced in 2.7. Despite this has not been kind of very useful in terms of it has not been used for 2.7 itself, it is now um, being promoted, and in my opinion and based on the information I've read, it's very important to mention that agentless posture is next generation posture from my perspective. So it is worth to check out the release notes and try to test it out. Okay, so let's click on next. And as mentioned previously, this is one of the main changes from my point of view. ISE 3.0 will now be available smart licensing only. That means that the pack files and the traditional model is not available anymore in 3.0 and above versions. So in order you to register your ISE for licensing, you will need to connect and have an account for your licensing portal. This can be accomplished with the help of your sales engineer, or if you have ISE in your lab, well, you will have a 90 days demo license for you to use and explore the features. There is also a difference in licenses names. That's something that I want to cover later today. It's just to give you a heads up about these changes. So let's click next for now. The last message that you will see is the post-operate task. This post-operate task, it's mainly if you operated your ISE deployment. Like in my case, this ISE was running 2.6, so I decided to run to the 6 and upgraded to 3.0. That's why it's prompting me to perform post-upgrade tasks, something that I'm not going to do today, probably tomorrow or the weekend. We don't know. So let's keep that part for now and click on Accept Close. And now this is pretty much this new user interface. So in the past, we used to see a lot of blue color for dashlets, even for the menu bar, for the icons. And 3.0, this has changed. And my opinion, this is more user friendly, as you can um, recognize some devices easier. And I mean, this improvement will help customers to differentiate or to categorize devices, network access devices, or maybe the authentications. Another cool thing um, that I can mention is that ISO comes with something cool. It's the resource, not the resource, but this menu where you can review the recommendations or some configuration assistance if you want to configure a feature in a specific. For now, I'm just opening the device administration. So as you can see here, we have the webinar, a couple of configuration guidance, how to configure TACACS with wireless LAN controller, iOS devices, Nexus, etc. Um, Other important part is how ICE 3.0 shows you the use of the REST API and how much information you can get for this API. And of course, um, this is a very important part. So you can get and take advantage of the Cisco content with Cisco .NET configuration and REST API examples. So um, in the on bottom on the this new menu or submenu, you can see the Make a Wish. This is um, the next item that I'm going to talk about, but for now, let's close this out and show you another difference that I noticed while I was navigating through the user interface. If you didn't notice, the menu used to be on the top of the page, the menu for the context visibility and so on. Now in i3.0, this has been moved, and in order to see the menu, you need to go and click on the three lines located on the upper left side. I'm referring to here. So if you click here, you will see the menus that we used to see on the top of the page in 2.7 and previous versions. The menus haven't changed a lot. I would say that. However, um, there are some features that are included in menus. So it is very, very important and highly recommended to explore all the menus so you can identify the new features and the new options you have in each menu, like health check, which is the other topic that I'm going to talk about today. So, um, before going to make a wish option, I just wanted to highlight the recent pages option introduces in this version. So basically, this is kind of the option that will allow you to go to the last menu or the last submenu that you visited a second ago or a moment ago. For example, if I go to system deployment, we are going to see the deployment. In my case, I only have one ICE node running the three personas, but um, this is not important for now, just to show you what is the difference and what is the usage of the recent page. So we were on the deployment menu. Let's move on to the certificates and let's go back to the menu and we should be able to see the deployment option or deployment menu that we visited a second ago. So every single time that you click on a new submenu or new menu, you should be able to see the last one you visited so you can click and you can go on that menu without the need to go to operations or to go to the main menu to get to that page, which is something very useful, and it will save some time if you are reviewing some menus for a specific feature or a specific function. In terms of shortcuts, we have the ASC for collapse the menu, and as I'm running this now the virtual machine and I'm using the Mac, well, you can identify this icon plus the dash, and you will be able to expand the menu. So this is very very good at in this version. Okay, so moving on to the next topic. Oh, before I forgot, and before going to the Make a Wish option, I wanted to let you know that this version comes with a very other information, variety of information, but something important is the ability to open and to review the tag cases. Okay, so here's the tag support cases option. It is located under the question mark here, I believe. Yes, it's on the question mark. So in 2.4, for example, yes, this is 2.4 patch 11. So in 2.4, we used to have the same question mark icon, but as you can see, it is uh, pretty limit as compared to ICE 3.0. We also have documentation, ICE portal building, ask question, and the most important part, and the most important menu here is the tag support cases. So in this menu, you will be able to create and follow up the tag cases you open for ICE using the GUI instead of going to um, the portal case manager or other tools. And this is new support option that it has been introduced on this version. So you definitely want to explore this option as well for you to know for your own knowledge or for your customer once your customer upgraded or install ICE 3.0. Okay, so let's move on to the Make-A-Wish, which is the next topic to be discussed. Make-A-Wish option can be found if we go to the dashboard, not the dashboard, but the three lines, which is located um, on the upper left side. And we have the Make-A-Wish option here, or we also have the option on one of this, okay, on the gear, we have the Make-A-Wish. So both ways work, and the purpose of this option is to provide kind of feedback or maybe one enhancement or the introduce of a new feature. So if you or your customer has a new idea of a new feature that you think it needs to be added to ICE on further versions, you can make a wish and provide your feedback in this part. So I encourage you to select um, the happy face, which means that you really like the new i0 and also provide your name or customer name along with the feedback and the options you think it needs to be considered by Cisco. So once you um, click on the face, provide your feedback, put in your name, you can click on this option so that Cisco may contact you for your feedback and get more information about it. Once everything is done, click on submit and that's it. So it is useful for those who have any idea or what needs to be implemented in for the ICE versions. So it is definitely worthy to review this option as well. Okay. So next item is called the health check. In my point of view and based on my experience, some customers have been looked at kind of option to review what is the current status of its ICE deployment. This can be done now, it is a reality in this version with the introduce of the health check option. Basically, it will show us what is the current status of our ICE environment along with very useful information. And the best part of this is that we're going to be able to get this information um, to create our own reports. So let's run it for as an example. As mentioned previously, this is only one node deployment, but if you have two or more nodes deployment or two or more deployments, um, this information is going to apply for all of the nodes. So let's click on the start. A message says that the health check has been triggered. So let's click on OK. And as you can see, there are many information available and many points that ICE and health check option will review for us. And these are, for those points that are on green, it is um, something that is good for us, and for those who are if, um, is not in green at all, then that means that there is something that we need to check. One use case that I can think of this health check, besides an audit or review the current status, is if you want to upgrade your ICE deployment, it could be very useful for you to know the current status or what needs to be added or what needs to be changed in order to have a smooth and successful upgrade. This does not replace the use of the URT tool, but this is another step or another option you can use for your upgrade scenarios. So in my case, I have two orange options, two orange results. One is for license, the second is for the trust store set validations. And the reason for this is that in my case and the case of my lab, I have VeriSign certificate expire. So we will need to remove or even we will need to renew this certificate, run the health check again, and that's gonna fix this issue. So this option lists all the certificate for Truster Store in our lab. So it's gonna show you it's very good information here. So the second point on orange is the licensing. So since my ICE 206 used to have a traditional license model with pack file, this is not longer available in 3.0. So you would definitely work with your Cisco team for sales in order to get the token or to register your ICE with the Cisco Smart Software Manager, which is a portal who managed all the licenses for your ICE. Well, not for your ICE, but in this case, it will manage the licenses that will be used for your ICE deployment. So um, it's only a warning mention saying that license expired health check. So the licenses is something that always brings a point of discussions in some of the health check with the customers. So it is good to know that we have the 90 days license as demo for 3.0, but if you upgraded to the 6 or previous versions to 3.0, it will warn you or it will let you know that you need to convert your existing license to the new licenses type. So this licenses type has have been changed the name and the usage. Um, and why not? Let's click on the licenses and see. This is the last point that I wanted to talk about. So in terms of the names, we have new names for the license. We used to have, let's move on to the licensing for my 2.4 lab. So we used to have the base license, plus license, APEX, and TACAX. The only two license types that haven't changed the name or the usage is TACAX and the virtual machine license, as we can see here. So basically, we don't have Plus, Apex based license anymore. Instead, we have the Essentials, Advantage, Premier license. It's one of the main changes, as mentioned at the beginning of the video. And I'm not going to talk about in a detail. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this because there is already some good documentation about the difference and why these names have been changed and why it's going to be used. What is going to be the use of each one of these licenses? But basically, these have been changed. Of course, device admin it's gonna follow um, the same base as with 2.4 and above. If you are implementing or if you have a new French install of 2.4 and above, you will need to consider to have one device admin license per PSN. If you upgrade it from previous versions to 2.7 or above, 2.4 and above, it shouldn't be any impact if you used to have your device admin. In terms of the virtual appliance license, as you can see, my lab has been categorized or has been recognized as virtual machine small. This is based on the resources that I have allocated for this specific node, this specific virtual machine. So there is more resources you allocated, the performance will be better, but you will need to also consider that this can be categorized or your virtual machines will be categorized for even medium or large. So that's all I have for today. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to my blog and I'll see you on my next video.